Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. Well, welcome back. And as you know, May 20th is the primary in the state of Oregon, and there are quite a few folks vying for the Republican nomination for governor to go up against the current governor, John Kitzhaber. Newly entered into the race is a gentleman by the name of Bruce Cuff. He enters on the Republican side. He's running. He lives up in Salem. He is a real estate broker. And Bruce, nice to have you this morning. Are you there? We got Bruce connected. We can see him, but he's not hearing us.
I'm here.
There you are.
Yeah.
Hi, Bruce.
Yes, hello there.
All right, nice to see you today. Welcome. And listen, you're new to the race, and you got a lot to do in a short amount of time. What pushes you into it?
Well, I filed January 7th. I've been in the race since January 7th, so I just hadn't been down to Medford yet, and I just got down there the other day and gave you guys a call. So
great.
I've been throughout the state already. So basically, what gets me into it is. When you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and God says that you need to run for governor because you're upset about Kitzhaber winning a third term, you do it. So that's why I'm in the race. I'm believing for revival in Oregon is why I'm in the race.
All right. So you're right there in Salem. You've watched this governor now for, he was 2 terms. Now he's on his 3rd and going for his 4th. You obviously have some concerns. Let's start with the economy, the state of the economy in Oregon. What's your thoughts?
Well, with Measure 66 and 67 passing in the middle of a downturn, we just drove businesses out of the state. So, I've got a tax plan that'll actually get rid of all the taxes on what you have. In other words, personal or property taxes, both real and personal, as well as inheritance taxes and taxes on your capital gains for retirement, and replacing all those with a local sales tax that stays in the county. And so we'd basically be able to cut our state income tax from 9% down to 6%, get rid of all corporate taxes in Oregon, and have a local sales tax that is voted in county by county. It could vary by county, and it stays in the local county. So, we can simplify the tax system and have 0 taxes on businesses in Oregon. All they would have to cover is their local sales tax that goes to the county. That's it.
Wow. Education.
That's one of the reasons we need to reduce the income tax rate at the state from 9% to 6%. We are currently sending $6 billion to the state of Oregon that they're turning around and sending back to the 197 school districts. So the state controls the school. If we want to control the schools locally, we must fund them locally, and that's what this tax plan does. It funds the schools locally. Also, we need to institute education savings account. Cascade Policy Institute has an excellent program that they're using currently in Arizona that we could implement where the money follows the child. The parents would have an education savings account for every single child they had in school. And let's say if we get 70% of what the state is spending and we get $7,000 per student, and let's say they find a private school they could send their child to for $5,000 for 4 years of high school, when they got done, they'd have $8,000 they could use to send their kid on to Oregon State or University of Oregon on to school. So I like education savings accounts. Parents ought to be in control of where their kids go to school.
Very interesting. Okay, Bruce, as you know, Cover Oregon's a mess. It's an embarrassment. Even the governor's admitted now that it's broken. That we're going to spend more money hiring more people to try to fix it. What's your thought on it? I think
that private sector is where the insurance business ought to stay. It shouldn't be socialized. Medicine go nationally. Of course, here in Oregon, we passed 2 bills putting Care Oregon in place. So whatever happens with Obamacare, we're stuck unless we get rid of these 2 bills and roll it back. So I think the answer is to let private health insurance companies compete across state lines, compete nationally for the business, instead of just every single state having to compete within the state, because then these guys can choose what states to be in. And I think a private system is what we need. it's about health care, not health insurance. And right now, all they're doing is forcing us into a health insurance program. It's going to be way too expensive for most folks.
Let's go over to the ONC. As you know, that some of these counties that are controlled by whether or not they're going to be able to reopen the forest and do some, good management of the forest and cleaning up the forest floor. See if some of those dollars would be released back. In addition to the fact that most of Oregon is owned by the federal government anyway. What's your thought?
I think Oregonians need to own Oregon. I mean, we need to get our federal lands back. We need to have our state. Part of what the state of Oregon is supposed to be doing is, with the $6 billion that they fight over that every year for education. If we remove that from the state level, the state can get back to focusing on what they're supposed to be focusing on, and that's transportation, safety, and managing the state lands. And we need to get our lands back from the federal government by changing the tax code and getting rid of property taxes, both real and personal property taxes. Every single county, all 36 counties, can get rid of their assessor and all their assessors that work for that county, and all those resources can be moved over to the law enforcement side. And, as governor of Oregon, I believe the 36 county sheriffs are the chief elected law enforcement officers in the state of Oregon. As governor, I would make sure that every single one of those guys had the resources they need to actually do what's needed in their county. The state police would operate in a backup role in those counties, and they would let the sheriffs know when they're there and what they're there for.
Interesting. All right. So what would you do to attract new business to Oregon?
Change the tax code. Get rid of all those taxes I just talked about. We would have no taxes on businesses in Oregon except for that local sales tax, and it would vary by county, by jurisdiction. So, but it'd be a local tax. It would stay in the local community. I think you get rid of all the taxes, including the gross receipts tax that was recently. You get rid of the corporate tax in Oregon, the gross receipts tax, and all the personal and real property taxes that businesses pay. They're coming to Oregon.
All right. What else do you see as important?
Well, the biggest, as a real estate agent, I lived through the Measure 3749 debacle.
Wow.
Basically, people spent tons of money getting their 37 waiver to do what they could do with their lands prior to 1972, when that Senate Bill 100 put the Land Conservation and Development Court in place. And what I would do as governor is the governor appoints all 7 members of that Land Conservation and Development Commission. I would make sure we had rural-friendly folks on that commission, where they would push out to the counties the decisions on what's ag land, what's forest land, what's approved uses in those designations. And then when it came to urban growth boundary struggles between cities and counties, it'd be up to the city and county to work out. The state would be totally out of that. They have no, the plan they put in place works for the Willamette Valley, but it doesn't work for the rest of Oregon. And I need to correct you a little bit, Perry. I've never lived in Salem. I lived in Brooks, which is a unincorporated portion of Marion County. That's where I grew up in Brooks, Oregon, went to Jervis High School, and currently I live in Mahama, which is 25 miles east of Salem, and it's in an unincorporated portion of Marion County as well. So what you're seeing in the background here, that's my backyard. It's out here, put over the Cascade.
All right, that's good. Thanks for clarifying that, Bruce. Hey, listen, we do have some counties though that are in serious trouble, and what would you do as governor to help them? I mean, we got Curry County, even Josephine County down here. Some of these are right on the verge of bankruptcy.
Well, there again, we changed this code. These guys tried to vote in like a sales tax measure for their county, but you can't stack that on top of something else. You can't stack it. They don't trust government. I don't blame folks, but if you try to put a sales tax on top of a property tax and you already have income tax, I'd vote no. So we have to scrap the system to put the other one in place. After win the primary, I'm going to sit down with all 60 House members and all 15 Senate members that are running, and we're going to have a contract with Oregon. We're going to take issues like this and put them on the table and say, you elect us. We're gonna put this in place, and in the very first legislative session, and start moving Oregon forward. And these guys need resources. But there again, we get rid of the property taxes, and they can move all those resources that they're currently spending at the assessors for assessors, and the property tax system is a very expensive way to tax people. And when you're taxed on what you have, you never own it.
Right.
So, somebody pays for their house and they're an elderly person. Right now, we got the elderly pitted against the schools because they're not going to vote for an increase in property taxes for the schools. It's a poor system.
How does your faith play into your campaign? Well,
I am a follower of Jesus Christ. I attend Assembly of God Church here in I'm on the deacon board, and I've taught adult Sunday school class for the past 5 years. I kind of stepped down because I'm on the road a lot now. But, Jesus Christ, what he has told us is if we lift him up, he will draw all men unto himself. And so our job is to basically lift Christ up in the public sphere. And I'm not afraid to do that. I'm opposed to the gay marriage issue coming on the ballot. I'm opposed to legalizing marijuana. I'm in huge support of Second Amendment rights. I believe that's a right given by God, not something, when people don't believe in God and then they're empowered, they think they can do something with our Second Amendment rights. And that's a God-given right. You can't touch that. They ought to get, I believe that what you believe in your politics comes from what you believe about God. And we're seeing a breakdown in our society because there are not those who are followers of Christ and those that actually lift up, Jesus and his teachings and what he's taught us. I think if a lot more believers were led by the Holy Spirit in their lives and act to people, and less judgment, we'd have a lot better society.
All right, I got about a minute and a half left, Bruce. Where are you with this ballot, or at least right now we're in the petition drive, signature drive, to stop taxpayer abortions in the state?
It's got to happen. We can't, you shouldn't be forcing people to pay for, the state should not be involved in the abortion industry, not a good plan.
All right. Give you a minute. What else would you like to say?
Well, I'm really enjoying. I'm going to be down in Medford coming up here on the 22nd, which is a Tuesday at the Medford Library. The Jackson Central Committee meeting is having a candidate forum. I'll be down there then, and then also again at the Medford Library on the 25th. The Liberty Forum I'm going to be there for a candidate forum. So I'd love to see people come out for that. I think those are at 7 o'clock each evening.
All right.
I'd love to meet folks down there.
How do people get a hold of you and support your campaign?
www.time4cuff.com is the website, and 4 brucecuff@gmail.com is the email.
All right.
And the slogan's "Enough is enough."
Okay. All right. All right. We're losing our Skype connection there. Thanks, Bruce. Best to you, and we'll look forward to seeing you down here when you're down here. Sorry about that. Our Skype kind of fell out there at the end. And again, Bruce Cuff. You may want to check it out. And like you said, he'll be down here for the candidates forum coming up the 22nd at the Medford Library. All right. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time on Focus Today.